The market is full of controllers we can use for emulation, from Sony's, Nintendo's and Xbox's controllers to thousands of third-party ones. But the fact remains that most of them follow a very clear formula. In form and function, almost all are identical. But what can you do if you're looking for a classical experience? As good as modern controllers are, they are not ideal for retro gaming. Thankfully, brands like 8BitDo do make controllers based on the classic ones we miss the most, with updated features that make them more than useful. Let's check the SM30 Pro, based on the Super Nintendo's controller. It respects the original shape, but adds all the extra features you need in a modern controller. Available in two versions, the regular one and the Xbox specific version. Welcome back, I'm Claudio, and this is Zero to Tech. Born in 2013, 8BitDo is a Hong Kong-based company focused on making controllers based on retro consoles. On paper, it sounds like any other company jumping on the trend, but 8BitDo focus on very good quality products, and truth be told, they do it very well. The SM30 Pro is 8BitDo's most successful controller. At first glance, it's easy to think that it's bigger than the original one, especially with the additional functions, but comparing them side by side, we can see that in all dimensions it's basically identical. The Xbox version is a bit slimmer, having the profile with less slope, but it's not a huge difference. Compared to the original controller, the D-pad and front buttons are moved up a bit to give space to the analog sticks. Also, the start and select buttons are aligned to the center. It is a pity since, in the original version, they were also diagonal. The Xbox One adds the menu button with the Xbox logo to the center. In the vanilla one, this button is the one below to the right side, with the 8BitDo logo. And in the same place but on the left side, the Switch snapshot button, in this case marked with a star. In the Xbox version, these two buttons work completely different, and are used to activate certain features. At the top we have R and L, which are thinner to make room for R2 and L2, which are extended toward the rear to facilitate their press. Also, R2 and L2 are digital in the normal version and the analog in the black one. On top, we also have the pairing buttons and the USB-C connector. Below, in the normal one, we have 4 LEDs to indicate the different protocols, and on the back, a very useful stamp that reminds us how to change between each of the 4 modes. The Xbox version does not have any of these. Instead, it has an LED around the hard button, and an additional one to indicate pairing above the Xbox One. The normal version of the SM30 Pro is sold in many colors. This is the Game Boy version, with a slightly brown color and burgundy buttons, just like the DMG Game Boy. But there is also a grey version, and with luck, you can still score one of the 2 original ones, with the Super NES colors or the SF30 with the Super Famicom colors. All of these have the front buttons with the typical Nintendo layout BAYX. The Xbox version is completely black, with the layout ABXY, and their respective Xbox colors. Feature-wise, both versions differ even more. Both can work connected with USB and wireless with Bluetooth. But the normal version supports 4 different protocols, which makes it compatible with Android, Windows, iOS, Mac, and Switch. And all 4 protocols are available via USB or Bluetooth. To select them, all you must do is press one of the front buttons at the same time you turn it on with the start button. When you turn it back on, it puts in the last mode you used. If you connect it via USB, it also uses the last protocol used. The Xbox version instead only supports one protocol, and although it also works on Windows, it's more focused on Android, so it uses direct input. It even says it right in the box. The idea is to use it on xCloud, because it doesn't work on Xbox consoles either. And it's important to know because, for example, in Windows, we could not make R2 and L2 work as analog buttons. In the vanilla one, the best thing about the 4 protocols is that each one can be paired with a different device. You can, for example, connect your computer with X input, your Android with D input, and your iPad with iOS mode, and finally your Switch, and you just have to turn the respective mode for it to reconnect. We can also connect it to the USB port of any device, except iOS, and it automatically connects with the last protocol used. If you want to change it, you disconnect it, start it with a new protocol, and then connect it again. Finally, we can also use the USB-C connector to charge the internal battery of the controller, which lasts about 18 hours. As a curious fact, the normal one cannot be used by Bluetooth while charging it, but the Xbox version can. You can even connect it to a computer to charge it, and at the same time, via Bluetooth to a phone, and both receive the commands. For the normal version, you can buy a phone clip that sells separately. It installs well on the controller, but it has a fixed position that doesn't allow you any adjust. And for a controller this size, without handles, it's somewhat uncomfortable. You lose yourself between balancing and pressing the buttons. Also, it covers the USB-C port, so you must remove it if you want to play wired or charge it. Here, the Xbox version stands out. Just like when we reviewed the Moga XP5, the clip on the Xbox version has two joints that allows you to put the phone in a well-balanced position, and it makes a big difference. It lets you concentrate on the game. The only thing is that it may cover central buttons, but it's not a serious problem. It also leaves room in the back to plug the USB-C cable. Too bad they don't sell these clips separately. And if you were wondering, yes, both clips are compatible with both controllers. Another important point is that the vanilla SN30 has rumble, while the Xbox version doesn't. But the Xbox version has more options to configure the controls. First, the 8BitDo Ultimate software available for Windows and Mac, which allows you to change the mapping of all the buttons and adjust additional settings for the analog sticks. And second, directly in the controller with the Start button, which allows you to exchange the mapping between any two buttons except R2 and L2, simply by holding them down and then pressing the star. You see that it blinks to indicate that the change was made, and that when you press any, it blinks. You can return them doing the same. This can help you in RetroArch if you don't want to change the default settings. Powering off the controller clears any of these changes. The quality of the controllers is excellent. They are at the same level as first-party controllers. Most important, the analog sticks are excellent. They have perfect resistance and feel comfortable on the finger, even when the controller is smaller and does not have handles. I had no problem adapting immediately. In both versions they are identical, and seriously, way better than I expected. Perfect for playing Fortnite or any other shooter. They also work great in racing games, and for any retro game that uses analog sticks. In Mario 64, we can see that they have the full range of movement, and that Mario only runs when the stick is at the end of the throw, as it should be. The face buttons are a bit different between the two versions. The normal one feels the same as the Super Nintendo controller, with a small travel and a very clear tactile feel. The Xbox version for some reason has more travel, but also have a clear press feel, nothing to complain about. The normal R and L buttons have a light touch, with more click, although they also use membrane. Finally, R2 and L2 are completely different. As we said, in the normal version they are digital, with a good feel like R and L, and in the Xbox version they are analog, with very short travel which you can regulate but does not help much. Even then, if you play a lot of car games, it is better than not having them. And finally, the D-pad is the cherry on the cake. A controller based on the Super Nintendo had to copy the most important thing, and they did perfectly. It has the same resistance as the original controller, not as much as the SNES Mini, and although they dance a little, when playing you can hardly notice. They do not have problems with lack of precision. They are ideal for playing games with a lot of actions and precision such as Contra, and in the sequence test with Street Fighter, they are perfect. Every special moves work as you expect, no surprises, as it should be. Ideal for emulation. Exactly what you would expect from a company that clearly focuses on retro. And this is kind of annoying because there are so many companies making such lousy D-pads when all they must do is copy the ones from the SNES. It's a problem solved 32 years ago. About compatibility, the normal version has no problem with anything. The 4 protocols make it compatible with almost any device. In Windows, the games detect it immediately with X input. You will have no problems playing games from the Epic Store, Steam or Xbox. And if you use the right mode, it is compatible with macOS, iOS, and even the Switch detects it as a Pro controller. On Android, it works with everything: emulation, games that support gamepad, and with the typical exception of Call of Duty Mobile and Apex Legends which require Mantis. On the other hand, the Xbox version is complicated. On Android the same, it works perfect with everything. But on Windows, you cannot use it to play games that require X input, like those on the Epic Store. To end, let's check the price. Both versions cost $45. You can get the Xbox version a bit cheaper without the clip. Overall, I think it's a reasonable price for a controller with very good quality, and its size makes it quite portable. Now, if you want to know which of the two versions to buy, the only reason to choose the Xbox version is if you're only going to use it on Android, and you need a very good clip to put the phone in. In any other situation, the 4 protocols of the normal version makes it much more useful. It's just too bad that they don't sell the black clip separately, because the normal clip is not that great. It's just enough to get you out of trouble on a trip. In everything else, both are excellent. They are the perfect mix between having a retro-focused controller without sacrificing the necessary features for more modern games. But if you're looking for a controller specifically for your phone, especially to play games on the Xbox Cloud service, maybe you wanted to check a telescopic controller like the GameSir X2 Pro. Want to know how good it is? Click out the video to find out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, retro games, modern technology, zero to tech.